Good morning, and thank you for joining Resilient You. Today, we are going to talk on my show about something that is just a very important topic. We're going to talk about purposeful parenting. This is something I've touched on before in other episodes. I've given you some suggestions to be mindful of, creating a softer path for our kids who are our future. And, some of those things are listen, be honest. I've mentioned about, being playful, spending time with them each day. You may have heard some of our guests on the show talk about that as well. Ryan Pandolfini, who is he was a major league ball player, and he had changed his career path midway in life, and now his number one goal is to be in his boys' life to raise them right. So that was something that he had said, just be mindful, be with them. Family should come first, and that's one of the things that is important. But that doesn't always happen the way we might like it to. So today we're going to talk about how to notice when children are struggling with their feelings. We're going to talk about what parents can do to take action when someone is unkind to them at school or says something mean to them. We're going to also talk about parental alienation and child alienation, things that are very common when they have things interrupt their life. I myself was a child of a split household. My father abandoned my mother, so in my experience, he didn't stick around. He didn't pay child support. He didn't help. He wasn't there in my life, and that had its own impacts. But sometimes when both parents are still in each other's lives and in the kids' lives but not getting along, it can really be detrimental to kids. So why don't we get started? And I just want to thank everyone for listening. In life we have to be resilient in so many things. Some people are born with it, but then others, like me, we have to continue on a path to get there, and different things come up different days. So how can you identify when your child or a child in your life might be struggling with their mental health? Just like us as adults, we're balancing many things, right? Being a parent, we might be managing a job, dealing with loved ones in our life. Imagine when you might lose a job or lose a person in your life that you love. Maybe you have health issues. That can affect even the strongest person. Now imagine that you are a child and going through something. Maybe that's serious, or maybe they're just having a tough day. Maybe they are dealing with something serious to them, and you may not know about it. One of the ways to identify it is when kids are withdrawn or socially isolated. Are they spending more time in their bedroom alone? Are they no longer interested in hanging out with their friends or going to social events? It may be a sign that a child is struggling with mental health if they're doing that. If you notice that they don't want to talk at the dinner table, if you notice that they are struggling and less emotion when they're talking about their day, it might indicate that a child is feeling depressed, overwhelmed, or having anxiety. If you notice that there's changes in their appearance also, that might be something. If they have less interest in following their daily hygiene routines, maybe they are struggling if they don't want to do the normal things like brushing their teeth or getting dressed or caring what they look like. Also, if they lost interest in hobbies or things they enjoyed before, they might not want to do a sport or activity. If they lost interest in any traditions or routines that you might have, such as having a meal together or doing something together, going for a walk. If they don't want to be in a shared space. Maybe they don't want to be in the living room with you anymore. Maybe they don't want to be with their sister or brother. Maybe they don't have enjoyment in the same hobbies or interests they had before. It could be that they're going through something. Maybe they're just changing, right? Kids go through changes all the time, so we have to be mindful. But imagine if they can't manage their low mood or their feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. That's definitely something as a parent that we should be mindful of. So let's talk about that. What if you notice changes in their mood? What can that look like? They can be highs or lows. They can be overlooked because the child might just seem happy because of something that happened. Or, if they have different things during the week that bother them, you might just attribute it to something like that. But there's also something called mania where they do bounce back and forth from highs and lows, and it's different for every person. Manic episodes can pose a lot of risk because it does involve risky behaviors sometimes, or substance abuse, or different physical behaviors. So again, just important, especially as they get older, teenagers or even younger than teens can sometimes show that. So just look for those changes in their behavior. As well, if they're disorganized, forgetful, if they have poor concentration, they might be dealing with anxiety or depression. It looks different in kids than it does adults, right? So if a child is overreacting, if they are acting out, if they are, crying a lot or quickly getting to that, angry stage, or if they're stressed out, that's something that might show that their mental health is going on. A couple more things to remember. If you see them not doing their tasks, if you see them not going places or being distracted in conversations, then that's something to be mindful of. So those are ways that you can tell a child might be struggling with their mental health. Jeanne, I know you had asked for that, so thank you so much for listening. And, I hope this helps. I know if you have kids or grandkids, as in your case, you may not be with them every day to really tell what's going on, but you can at least be mindful. And the best way is to talk about this with their parent, even with them. Don't be directive in your conversations. Like, you just let them know that you're there for them. Let them know that if they want to talk, you're there. And maybe ask them what they might like. Sometimes a ride in the car is a great way for a kid to open up because it's a neutral space. So invite them out to dinner. And if they pick fast food or, sweets or something like that, just let them have it. And you'll see how they open up, and you might just find out what's going on with them. So that's the first topic of today. I know we had another request. Let me see. So the second one is, what can a parent do when someone upsets them at school? And I did some research on this. And there was a lot that really came out because kids are oftentimes, they don't want to tell you because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want you to, get involved. They don't want you to be the one who's going to, make them feel uncomfortable. So there's a thought that, if the child is in a situation and you let them handle it themselves, you let them become their own hero, that may just be the solution that they need. So it might involve talking to them about how you were in a situation. I know I've done that. Just in passing, I would tell my children a situation that I had been in where I had encountered a situation or a person, maybe it was the first time and I talked about how I felt through it. And I think this helps kids. It gives kids the tools that they need to show that, hey, my parents went through this. So if a child has been a target of unkind words or behavior, it's easy for us to want to jump in and help them, right? We want to fix it. Let me talk to that principal. Let me talk to that parent. You know, and again, I'm not suggesting they go and get into a fist fight at school or become aggressive or violent or go online and text these. That's what happens these days. Kids don't have fist fights in the schoolyard anymore, but they sometimes they do, but they don't do that. They go online, and then next thing you know, they're sharing things or saying untruths, and it really causes a storm of trouble. Schools actually have policies in place where even if you're not on school grounds, but you're bullying another student via social media, that can be slander, and they can actually take action on that. So, tell your kids about the dangers of that social media, but instead of rushing to fix the situation, because that can tell the kids that you don't trust them to handle the situation. As well, if we go in there and, oh, this kid is bullying you, how dare they? They shouldn't, bully that. The kids see themselves as the victim, and if they see themselves as a victim, then they see themselves as powerless. So that's two very good reasons not to rush in and fix it for them. If children begin to think they're powerless, they open themselves up to more victimization. So the best thing you can do is teach them how to rescue themselves. And one of the best ways to do that is define what happened. Every story has, 3 ways that it can be told in most situations. So find out from their mouth what happened. Was it actual bullying? Bullying is when the behavior is a direct action for harm to that person. It may not be, it may be repeated, and it may be a power struggle between, the bully and the victim. So find out if it's truly bullying. Second thing is, was it just a mean moment? Sometimes people are mean, and if it's not bullying, it's just mean, and then you can help the child to get to a better way to handle it. And if it's a conflict where your child plays a role, which is a little harder to diagnose, sometimes your kid, and if you're honest that, maybe they did do something. But if you're only getting half the story, it just means that your child doesn't know that they played a role. I know that some kids, if they have ADHD, they have concentration issues, or if they were traumatized, they may not have that same ability as others to take things slowly and look at the whole situation and take accountability. They might say this happened to them for no reason. So again, once you figure out what it is, what actually, to the best of your ability, you can create an action plan. You can help your child with strategies to move forward. And this is what you do with brainstorming anyway, when you deal with your own issues. If you tell them that next time you see the person, it's their stuff, not your child's stuff, right? So encourage them to have confident thoughts along with their actions. So if they say something mean again to them, you can say, I'm not sure why you would say that. Did I do something to make you mad? Take a deep breath and then stay calm, right? So try to reason with them and get them. And if you can role play that with the children, it may help, because you could show it in terms of being a bully. And if they're a bully, they're just going to keep saying the mean things over and over again. And then the next step would be to walk away and even go for help if needed. But, if the child if it's just a mean moment, maybe having that conversation will help the other kid to realize, hey, they're not just going to sit back and take it. Or maybe they'll move on to not to say move on to someone else, but something else. If the kid, sees that they're confident and calm. And then if you can report the incident, that's one thing that, would be helpful if it warrants bringing it up to a teacher or appropriate authority. Let your child be in the child's seat, though, and help them prepare when they're asked about it. Have them write down questions, and then if the time comes, allow them to do most of the talking while you just provide support, that you're there for your child. So basically, this is really the answer to another question that we had. This was from a listener, Melanie. Melanie, this is what you can do when someone upsets your kids at school if they say something mean. I hope these steps have helped you with that. We have, our next topic is really much more involved and serious. So I want to talk a little bit about parental alienation. So our question came in, and again, I don't want to raise all the names, but if you have a situation where the child is out of control or having, let me see. Number one, take a deep breath if you are dealing with parental alienation. And I was going to talk about the difference between the parental alienation and the child alienation. Let me do that first, because I know this is something that might be a little new to you. So parental alienation is when a child is deliberately turned against their other parent through practice of telling the child terrible things about them or undermining their contact. So in a situation where parents are separated, or sometimes when they're even together and they just don't like each other, or they want to win that child's favor for some reason, you may have that alienation happening as well in your family by other family members, and they may want to be the favorite aunt, or they may, want to win that child's affection. So, but again, if, that's parental alienation. Child alienation is when a child rejects the parent and doesn't want contact with them. It could be on a small scale if they didn't get their way and they want something and they're going to treat that person with, by ignoring them, or maybe they're going to go and favor the other parent instead. If it's more serious, it could be a family law battle. And if it's, that serious, the child could be alienating because of what's going on with their family life. So when you're dealing with parental alienation, you need to take a deep breath. Know that the child really does not hate you. There's a couple problems that might occur. The child might have really rude behavior. The other parent, who's the favored one, might have the constant contact, and there might be, continual things that interrupt your normal parenting. And so if you are in that situation and you're trying to convince the child that the other parent is wrong, it's not going to work because they've been coached by the other parent. If your child is out of control and they make bold statements, you can have a good response to that, which is a calm response. I can see that you are upset. I want you to know that no matter what happens or how you behave, I will always love you. I do want you to understand I may not be perfect all the time. I will always do what I feel is in your best interest. When you behave the way you're behaving, it reflects poorly on your dad or mom, the other parent. and could actually get them in trouble. I know you do not want your other parent to get into trouble. I can't control your behavior, only you can. You can decide to behave appropriately or not. Whatever you choose, I will always love you. So after that type of response, to let them know that their behavior is up to them and you're not going to allow this behavior to influence your parenting, the tricky part is be quiet after that. Don't respond. Don't entertain these dramatic situations. Don't explain any further. Don't plead. You just leave it at that, because alienated children will do whatever it takes to protect their favored parent. You're not going to change that. You can repeat what you said again, and then the other harder part is just to not respond. So, you have to find some strategies for remaining calm. You can Google, emotional toolkit strategies. You can find things online. It might be closing your own door, taking a minute, taking a breath, taking a walk. It may be, putting water on your face or watching funny videos. There's many tips out there that can help you to refocus yourself and take yourself out of that situation, because staying quiet is going to shut it down and hopefully bring the child back to your only response that you've delivered. I mean, this is huge. I can't tell you. And parents, you can use this in other situations too. It really does work. But anyway, we can talk about that on another episode. So when you have the child and they're in constant communication with the other parent, what do you do? I mean, you can't take their phone away. If you, and I've done this, not that I've been in a divorce situation, but I've switched my parenting style to authoritative. And I want to say, you're going to do as I say. I'm taking your privilege away. And, and that's that, which, it's sort of helpful sometimes, because it can stop what seems to be madness in that situation. But I would suggest staying with the same parenting style that you have already. And if you're not familiar with that, Google parenting styles and try to figure out what parenting style you have, because you don't want this behavior, this situation to waver how you are with them. It's really tough when kids are going through this. If you're in a court situation, you could even have your attorney talk to them, because it's important. The attorney could explain to them that the court ordered the parenting time and they have to spend time with you, otherwise their other parent can get in trouble. So I know it's not easy, because all you want is for them to love you, especially because look at all you've done throughout their life. It's really important that you stay calm and be rational and reasonable. Like, if you need to get your attorney to do it, do it. It's going to help you. And some parents may not want to involve their kids in what happens in the court. But if the children have been through this, you don't want the other parent's skewed version of what happens to be the only information that child has. So again, it's important that if you give the child the tools of the truth of what's going on, you can restore that calm in your home and give the child the chance to relax and have fun with you. If you can, not have them focus on the text messages coming from the other parent, again, just remind them you are also their parent. Traditional parenting styles, might not work. So you need to arm yourself with other parenting styles and see if this does work, because then you can empower your child to be the best version they can, in the world. You can be the influence that you want to be. So parental alienation, we've talked about that. I wish you all the best of luck. It's not easy parenting, and it does take a village. So keep that in mind. Now, the parents that are causing the alienation may not fully be aware of what they're doing. So, again, if the child is aligning with the other parent, you may want to talk with them or have, the attorney talk with their attorney about the emotional upset that they might be causing, just to make sure that, they're aware. So let's say the damage has been done and, that's already happened. If your child has become alienated from you, they probably have negative views of you. And, in many cases, what happens is it's painful. And you might be feeling angry, you might be feeling vengeful, you may blame the other parent. But again, all of those negative feelings are not going to change the situation. It's not going to reverse the alienation. So, just remember, not all children become alienated due to what the other parent might do. Sometimes children can be alienated just because of the fear that they have, because they've witnessed some violence in the family or the situation of what's going on. Maybe they fear violence occurring if they don't align with the other parent. So again, if it's just a reaction to what's going on, or if it's a fear that they have, they might need support. So how can you identify if your child has become alienated? So some of the alienating parents do all or some of these things. They allow the child to speak negatively and disrespectfully about the other parent. They set up tempting alternatives that would interfere with the other parent's time with the child. They give child decision-making power about spending time with the other parent when there's already arrangements in place. They act hurt or betrayed if the child shows any positive feelings against the other parent. They use the child as a messenger or a spy. They also use the child to lie to the other parent or betray their trust in the child. They share details of the property or financial or arrangements to upset them and blame the other parent. They interrupt the other parent's time with messages and phone calls. And you might have other examples. I remember a time with my life where I was spending time with my dad in the initial. I was like 5 years old, and we were in the living room of my mom's apartment, and my mom kept coming in asking my dad about the money, about the child support, and when would the check be there, and how is he he lost his job or something, how is he gonna pay? And I remember this, and they didn't realize that after that visit, and my mom continued talking about these things to me just because I was the only one there. I don't think she was really doing it on purpose. So again, there's different ways. Now, let's say you're on the other end and you have child alienating you. When there's a lot of conflict between parents, this can happen. So it can happen in a separation, or it can happen even in a regular, household with two parents who just may be fighting or disagreeing. So if a child is alienated, they may denigrate you and say terrible things about you. They refuse to do what you tell them. They swear at you and show other oppositional behavior. If you ask them why they're so angry with you, they say they don't know or give these reasons that don't make any sense. They will be firm about how much they hate you. They don't show they love you, they hate you. They just say they hate you. And also, they deny their other parent had anything to do with forming those opinions. They support the other parent no matter what they do or how extreme their behavior is. They use, incidents that that they couldn't have known about, or words or ways to describe things that weren't theirs, right? You might also notice that their hatred spreads to other things associated with you, people that or things you want to do, they don't want to do anymore. And so how can you reverse that? I think this is a good point that we want to get to. 5 steps you can take now to begin laying the path for reversing child alienation. You can stop talking about brainwashing. Stop talking about the other parent and what they're doing to them. It's just going to make them angry at you, and you really want the kids to know that they're thinking for themselves. So instead of trying to convince them that that's what's happening and get them to agree with you, instead you have to just show them through your behavior that anything negative may not be true, right? So you're either going to, not be wavered by what they say or what the other parent is saying or doing, and then they'll realize for themselves that there's a huge disconnect from what the other parent is saying or doing to what you're showing them. So this is huge. If you have other things that you can do, one of the things is maximize the time with them. It's easy for you to, do things that you want to do, but maybe maximize it and make it something that they want to do. Maybe you would never listen to hip hop music and dance around the house to it, but try. Maybe you wouldn't take them to that concert, and again, what you do, make sure it's in line with whatever court restrictions you may have. Again, it's better to build on whatever time you have. If you have to do it in the presence of someone else, you can't go and do what you want. Just have patience and make the best of it from the two of you, right? Do what you want to do, and never cancel if possible. Try to always see them when you have those dedicated times. It's important to make sure that you can meet the obligation and show them that you're there for them. Number 3, you can give them opinions and ask for their advice. Kids don't like to be told what to do all the time. And parents, you can do this also in your daily life, is ask the kids what they want to do. It makes them feel appreciated and grown up. It makes them, have a part in what's going on. And that's especially helpful when you're dealing with a situation where these, actions are coming at you. Number 4, you can be the opposite of your ex. And, again, if the other person in your life is angry, try not to be angry. If you have positive energy, you'll have love to share with your kids. You'll ask them questions about, their time, and you'll really make them feel comfortable. And imagine 3 years or 5 years down the line when they know they're going to spend a week with you in a peaceful home. Despite whatever the other parent is telling them, I think they're going to look forward to that time with you. So the 5th thing you can do is listen empathetically. If you actively listen to what your child is saying and you dig deeper to understand what they're saying without getting upset or offended, they're going to respond to that. Listen to what they're really telling you. And when we listen, it's so important to not respond. Listen fully to what they're saying before you respond. Now, here's the thing. If you're the caring adult, the child is going to recognize that, and they're going to turn into a caring person as well. So this isn't going to fix everything for you if you are dealing with parental alienation, if you're dealing with child alienation. That happens oftentimes together. But there are 5 strategies that might help you deal with this a little bit better. So if you have that child that's that's doing that stuff to you, right? Let's go there. Let's talk about what nobody talks about. If you have a child that is hurt and won't speak to you or only says mean things to you, what can you do? Can't force them. If you've gone into your room and cried like I have, if you've talked to a supportive person and you just don't understand it, that's okay. The first thing you can do to try to heal the hurt is to reflect honestly on what's going on. And of course, I'm a big fan of journaling, writing it down, and that's something that you can do with, yep, you guessed it, my book, Emotional Strength Explained. This book has prompts and it can help you. So, for example, if you go to the first page and, the first prompt and it asks you, what's the reason that you picked up this book? You may say, you might write in here, my child is ignoring me. My child is not talking to me. And you know what? It's painful to write that in here and look at it the next day. But if you do that, you're going to, the next day, you're going to come back. You're going to read some of the advice. You're going to listen to it, hopefully. And you're going to talk about the things that you can change. Like this line here, it says, list games people around you play or manipulations they may try. What is your reaction? If you back away or ignore it or make excuses, think about what will change if you change. So these are all steps in here that can really help you get through this issue or other issues. Like, again, this book, Emotional Strength Explained, it's generic, so it'll help you no matter what you're going through. But in the case of parental alienation, this can help you get to where you want to be, to heal your hurt, to focus on the good. So let's talk about the steps, right? So number one, reflect honestly on what's going on. Don't rise above the guilt. Be honest, and maybe when you look back, you'll see where you've made some mistakes. Write it down and talk to someone. Maybe they'll help you point out issues that you didn't realize. They'll see it a different way. And if you're open to that, when you're ready, you can acknowledge your own feelings about it. If you're hurt, you can, get through them a little bit faster if you can identify it and allow yourself to cry. This is holding on to that anger really is not going to get you where you want to be. And again, if you can deal with the emotions, acknowledge your feelings, part of the concept in the book, Emotional Strength Explained, you can get to a better place a lot faster. Number three, if you're thinking about this and stewing on it, it's all you're thinking about, of course, because it's the biggest thing in your life. Like Michelle Obama says, you can go high. You can rise above what is happening and not obsess over it. And the only way to do that is set time aside to do the things that you like, right? So let's say you're only going to think about this divorce like, a half hour in the morning and a half hour at night, let's say. Or, 3 times a day when you have to check your phone or your email. Change your structure so that you can commit other time to doing other things that will enrich your life. Try reading a book, watching some shows, TV, look at funny videos. I said it before. YouTube. It's amazing how it'll change your spirit. The other day I saw a little chihuahua with a taco costume on. Anyway, it's such a silly thing, but when we do that and we laugh, it really does change the functioning of our brains, and it's really helpful because then you can come back, you can engage in things in a different way. If you can be physically active, that's a good thing to do. It's or creativity. If you like to paint or draw or write, if you like to act, or maybe it's something new you want to try, this would be a great time to start on something for yourself. You're investing in yourself. And focus, number 4, focus on the good in your life. Make a list of all the things that are good despite the child alienating you, because being a parent is only one thing in your life. It's in here, in my book, I'm looking because there's a page about that also, where you can notice, well, this is about noticing the daily practices. This is really good. I really love this book, guys. I can't tell you enough. Self-confidence and doubt. You can learn to squash the doubt and allow yourself to be self-confident. There's a section on that. But anyway, so number 4 is, focus on planning things with your friends. If you have goals for yourself, you can set those at home, at work. They can be small. Guys, come on. You can do, some stretches in the morning, or drink a glass of water every morning. They can be small things. If you have work and you say that you want to get to work on time no matter what, maybe you're going to make a point to do that from now on. It's really giving back to focusing on the good things in your life. Number 5 is the self-care option. So you're going to set time aside every day just for you. It may not be the same time every day. If it's hectic like it is in my life, sometimes throughout the day you have to pick a point. You have to pick a 5-minute time frame that you can do that for yourself. And sometimes it happens when you don't realize it. If you have a negative interaction with your child, then you might want to spend more time for self-care, right? Listen to a song that you enjoy. Go for a walk. Notice the environment outside. Notice the environment around you. Maybe there's an item that you love, and you can just spend some time being appreciative, being mindful of the item. And the last step that I have here for the healing the hurt is getting professional help. So if you have feelings of sadness and it's overshadowing your relationship with your child or with yourself, and you can't do these things I've just talked about, seek counseling to cope with these feelings. Okay, so moving forward. So some of the research that I did, it's landing on healing the hurt first, then moving forward. So if you write a letter, you can express your feelings without being interrupted or yelling. You can talk about your feelings in the past. You can apologize for any wrongdoings, any hurt that you've caused them. And you can mail the letter, give it to a relative or another person to deliver it to them. You can even keep it. Let's say you're not ready to give it to the child. You don't have to. You can keep the letter. It just gets your feelings out. Number 2, you can say, I love you. If you're going through a rough time, no matter what happened, saying I love you, it's freeing. It gives the child the reassurance that you're there for them, and it also redefines for yourself what you have and what you want with your child. And you can also do random acts of kindness, right? Make them something special, or buy them some special food that they want. Take them out, like I mentioned. It really works because it shows that you cared. When you're healing the hurt, you're going to acknowledge your feelings. So don't stuff your feelings. Acknowledge what you're going through. And again, some of the things that I guess some of the things you're faced with, you're not going to like it, and you can either deal with it, beat your head against the wall, or you can move past it. So I'll ask you, are you able to do some of these things to heal the hurt, to move forward, or are you going to keep beating your head against the wall? So when you focus on this development, you can show yourself that you navigate these challenges. You're going to do different things. If there's changes in your life, your children are going to have to do different things. But we're all human beings, right? We don't want to have criticism or name calling. The sooner that the kids learn how to respond to these things, the more likely that they're going to emerge with confidence and self-esteem. So again, if you have this parental alienation or child alienation happening, it's important to know that you're not alone. Get support if you need it. You can start out by purchasing Emotional Strength Explained. And if you have young kids, we also have a book that was just released. So if I just grab a copy here, I just received it, so we're so excited. This book is called Fun Book, like a diary but more fun. It's for ages, preschool up to age 7 or 8, or even if the kids have some different abilities where they're at a different stage emotionally. You may want to purchase this book. It's playful, inspirational, and motivating activities that will encourage kindness, self-confidence, and the importance of self-regulation and positive change. This book has a lot of graphics in here. There's little puzzles and games for them to do. There's strategies in here that they can do day by day, and they can try it. It's hard for me to explain everything in here, but this is backed by licensed clinical social workers. It allows the kids to learn about their feelings, to track them, to get them out, and maybe even you can use this together. It talks about strategies, things. It gives them ideas of lists of things that they can do to help themselves when they're not feeling good. And again, it's a little journal for them. It helps them to be more resilient. It's written by a child as well. My 9-year-old daughter came up with this idea, and we worked with a clinical social worker. So Mary Akeju is the one we worked with, and it's really going to be helpful. So if you haven't picked it up, it's a book for kids ages 5 to 7. It's available where books are sold on Amazon. Emotional Strength is available also everywhere books are sold. It's available at Walmart and Target now. We're so excited to be able to share this goodness. In 30 days, you can become more resilient in whatever you're going through. So again, thank you everyone for listening. On today's show, we talked about purposeful parenting during different situations. We've covered how to notice when children are struggling with their feelings. We've covered action to take when someone upsets your kids at school. And we've covered parental alienation as well as child alienation. I know that, our listeners here are all here. And thank you again, everyone. I really appreciate your time. Have a good week. And remember, you don't have to go through it. You can grow through it.